What's up, Facebooks? Once again, this is your boy Leif Taylor. Waiting on my dude J Kev to get on tonight. Two shy guys on the mic. See if we can get J Kev on here. There's my dude. What's up, bro?
What's up, man? How you doing today?
Doing well, man.
Awesome.
It's silly.
uh, what up, two shy guys at the mic? J. Kev, Lake Taylor here, just talking about staying safe today. Having just a short conversation about principles of safety and just keeping yourself, your loved ones, those who fall under your hands of influence, out of harm's way. It's a poignant topic, it seems, with all the shenanigans and stuff that's always going on wherever you look. So it's just one of those things that we have to do as being adults, adulting in the world, and just being human beings, is that we got to learn how to and cultivate the act of mitigating risk and danger. The world we live in, that's always going to be ever present, but just doing whatever we can to enact principles and strategies and tactics that's going to help us stay safe physically, emotionally, mentally, and just all the other E's that you can come up with in life. Yeah, because we like to mitigate pain. One of the things that I like to think about is ways to live and stay pain free in this world, and having safety first is just one of those things. Whatever area or endeavor of our humanness, our humanity that you're talking about, and this is just very important. A few things that's kind of got me on this topic today is that number one, you know, I was at my son's football game earlier, and then also I was at the middle one's football game yesterday, and it just got me to thinking about, making sure that the fundamentals of just playing a game and of how to tackle, run, hit, and just do some how to move and act and behave in a gaming environment is very important when it comes to staying safe, having fun, and just doing what you want to do out when you're out just doing what you feel like. So that just got me thinking about that. And then number two is I was at work the other day, and I was just thinking about some of the previous close encounters that I've seen people have
Yep.
and that I've had.
What's up,
What's
Zach?
up, Zach? That I've had that when you're negligent and when you're not aware of your surroundings and when you're not practicing safe methods, then you
Yep.
open yourself to a whole can of just situations that. What's my man's name in that insurance commercial? What's his name? Havoc or
Mhm.
whatever his name is. He's yeah, you know what I'm talking
Yep.
about.
Yep.
He's always lurking, waiting for to carry out some kind of scheme that he's just set up. Kind of like the bad guy in Final Destination. He's death is busy just coming up with a whole slew of things of to take some individuals out, and the Darwin Awards is always waiting and ready to be handed out to the
Yeah,
person
always.
that just that's on the bottom of the totem pole, just ain't paying attention, just doing some silly things, So just staying safety and practicing safety in whatever area that we want to take this and the conversation goes. We want to just talk about that for a minute. So basic principles and things that we can all do and incorporate and cultivate that will help us live life, level up, and have fun while mitigating hazard, danger, and risk the best that we can, knowing that life in and of itself is risky and you're not going to be able to set up rules for everything. but doing yourself, doing the best that you can to empower yourself to
Mhm.
live as pain free as possible. Zach said that it's odd that you speak of this. I ended up in a bad spot of Dallas today and almost had to draw a group of people. Man, weird you're talking about this today. Situational awareness is key, brothers.
Always.
And Zach, yes. And we can go ahead and just talk about that for a minute. Situational awareness is one of the basic tenets and principles when it comes to being physically safe. Well, safe in all areas, but when it comes to
Safety,
like
period.
thinking about martial, I was just thinking about martial arts, and that Zach is a martial artist. He's grown up doing martial arts, and that's always one of the things that he's very adamant about. And then just my previous background with martial arts and some things that's just one of the things about one of the basic principles that is ingrained in us is that the whole point of doing martial arts is that you don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Is learning how to not have to do that or get physical. So yeah, situational awareness is definitely vital, especially in the world we live in, with all of the distractions and stuff that's available and constantly keeping us with our heads down, our attention and focus drawn away from our surroundings.
Yep. Yeah. It was funny. I was actually thinking about that. And I always think about situational awareness when I think about safety in general, right? Whether it
Yes.
be, avoiding physical altercations or attackers, predators, or whatever. And it's also with your environment, understanding the things in your environment and being aware of your surroundings in terms of, uh, I'll give an example. One of the things that I'm always getting on my kids about is making sure that they have walkways clear,
Yeah.
right? Because especially the reason why a lot of accidents happen in the home is because you're used to certain things being a certain way, and when something foreign comes in that environment, it changes the dynamics of the household. So
Yeah.
whereas you know, like, because most people can walk through their house in the dark
In the
because you're so
dark.
used to it, right? However, with kids and a wife, they put stuff in
Mhm.
walkways, and that can create a hazard from the standpoint that you expect the walkway to be clear so you don't think about it. So it's just part of routine that you walk from the path from one bedroom to the kitchen through a corridor. And if something is in there, especially at a low level that is not at eye level, you're not going to see it. So you're more likely to trip and fall and hurt yourself, stump a toe, and all of those kinds of things. So that's part of situational awareness as well. And then
And
also,
cultivating your environment.
yeah, and cultivating your environment and understanding safety, understanding that, okay, this could be harmful to somebody else. You think about going outside, a lot of parents have to go through gradually, letting their kids stay outside by themselves more and more. If you're good, you do. Some people just let the kids run
Mhm.
outside, but you gotta
Yeah.
basically make them aware of cars. You have to make them aware of bikes, strangers, all of these things, which is part of situational awareness, right? You gotta, teach them the cues to look out for to know when something in the environment is not quite right, whether it be a speeding car and all of these different things. So they don't get too caught up in play to where they get sidetracked and end up getting hit or hurt because of the environment around them, whether it be a speeding car, whether it be stationary cars, right? Kids run into stuff all the time. And even with animals, it's a whole slew of things that you have to just constantly be aware of. Keep your head on a swivel, so to speak, to make sure that you're not in the crosshairs of a predicament.
Man, yeah, that's right on target. Um, yeah, my man Zach, he was talking about
Yep.
drawing that I was always carry, as you know, but my thing, yeah, Zach is very adamant about carry and exercising the right that we all have as far as self defense if you choose to exercise that,
Yep.
and having instruments and tools, equipment available to help you when it comes to safety. I know that I'm always appreciative of a well skilled woman or man that is skilled with the tools that they may have available to them should we find you find or I find myself in a situation not just with equipment but just knowing what to do
Yeah.
and maintaining a calm heart and a calm mind being able to do that
Yep. Yeah,
in tough
because
situations.
not escalating a situation is just as much safety as escalating a situation, right? I don't know if any of you saw the video of the man who got shot by his neighbors. His wife was recording. Of course, they didn't show the actual, him getting shot, but it happened while she was recording, right? And
Wow.
one of the things, yeah, he got gunned down and he died. And one of the things, me looking at that video, and I was telling my wife, I was like, he actually could have avoided a lot of that situation, right? This is an unarmed man that's arguing with two guys that are visibly armed. They're visibly armed, and yeah, that's all. And he just start going off at them, regardless of who's wrong. He should have been wise enough to know that, okay, this is not the right time to escalate this situation, right? Because not only was he unarmed, but his wife was unarmed. They could have shot her as
Right.
well, right?
Wow.
Because again, it's about situational awareness and understanding everything that's going on. Like you said, violence is a last resort. Yeah, you have to start de-escalating, because again, you have to start, again, part of the safety aspect is understanding when you are outgunned or outnumbered and those kinds of things, right? His situational awareness went straight to emotional. He started yelling
Discipline.
and he got more, I'm gonna kill you. He's threatening to kill the people that have guns. And
Mm.
they warned him. There's like, hey, and again, that's why I was telling my wife, regardless of how it started, how it ended was tragic, right? It could have been avoided. It could have been avoided. It's like, hey, you back away, you make sure that you get your wife and kids to safety, and you can fight another day. But he wasn't thinking in that vein. And I was like, I know in hindsight, his wife was probably like, none of that was worth it. None of
Wow.
it's not worth losing your life just because you're angry or upset. It's like you have to, like you said, stay calm, think about it rationally, because it's the unrational mind that can get you in a whole lot of trouble. And so he should have just like, you know what? All right, fine. If you're gonna curse, curse as you're walking away from the situation. Don't curse
Yeah.
right there. Because the guy said, you step to me, I'm gonna shoot you. And he's like, go ahead. But he wasn't listening. He was just getting so he kept working himself up. And so and the thing about it, I've seen this happen before. Not just there.
Yeah.
I've seen like close encounters where people just keep escalating the situation. It keeps going up, and next thing you know, shots are fired, people get hurt, all of that kind of stuff. And it's like people have to be calm, think about stuff rationally. I don't care how mad or angry you get. If you understand that somebody is armed and can take your life, regardless of how you feel about it, sometimes you just need to shut up and walk away, save your life and save those that you love.
Man, you really hit on it. I pulled up and kind of skimmed through a Psychology Today article just talking about some things on how to stay safety, whatever it is
Yeah,
that in part of your life you're talking about, and just talks about thinking long term
you
and
have to.
thinking and having and before thinking about situations before they occur. It's just part of being a mature adult and being prepared and as much as you can, whenever you can, however you can, and just thinking about, on occasion I'll think about stuff like, so what if, you got to play out those situations and scenarios in your mind, the what if scenario. Okay, what if somebody's having a bad day and I bump him and he
Yeah.
smacks me? What are you going to, how
No,
are you going to react?
you have to consider that stuff. You truly do, because the world is so unpredictable, right?
Right.
And the best way to just think about life in terms of when you come into contact with people and things like that is assume the worst, in terms of assume that everybody's armed, right? Assume that anybody can do anything at any given time. And the first thing you have to do is always assess the situation, right? Uh, and then from there, you have to, of course, you do the calculations very quickly and very swiftly. Like most of the time, for example, avoidance, right? That's one of uh, Zach's one of the things that he puts in there, right? We were taught ACS, avoid, control, and stop, right? So the first aspect of safety is avoidance. So whenever I'm with my family, especially when I'm with my family, what's going on, Latiera? Especially when I'm
What's up,
with my
Latiera?
family, I make sure that if I see something, because I've been in a lot of crazy situations in my life. So when I see the atmosphere change in certain situations, I'm like, all right, you got to go. Either
Yeah.
if we're together, then I'm like, it's time for us to go. I don't want our kids here. We got to bounce right now. And and I was like, I'll explain it to you later.
What are
you
some
know,
what are some signals that piques your interest that makes you say that? Like, is it
so
how
for
people
me,
are
like for
acting?
example, like I'm trying to think of a specific situation just to give some insight into the way I think about things when I see stuff, right?
Okay.
So for example, say that you're in an say it's a new environment, right?
Okay.
And say that you just happen to be in a location and you just notice people slowly start gathering around, right? Just slow gathering, and it's like it's sometimes nothing
Something
is
in the
said.
air.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes nothing is said, or if I hear some conversations, and I if I hear a conversation start getting a little more aggressive than they need to be, then I'm aware of that as well. I try to avoid confined spaces, especially when there's a lot of people, because again, safety from the standpoint of there's all kinds of things that can happen in that kind of situation, and it doesn't have to be violence per se, but just being aware of that, right? Being aware
So
of space.
these are just
Yeah,
everyday things you practice
yeah, I just
every
I just
day.
pay attention to a lot of stuff because that's just me. That's just the way I think about things. I've been I almost got jumped by a gang one time, so I understand what that looks like. I've been in situations where people have been shot at, have been shot. So I've seen a lot of these things. I've taken classes on safety and first aid. I've taken martial arts pretty much all my life as
Yep.
well. So I see all of these things, and I mean I've had family members that have been murdered. So I'm very aware of situations when they start to go south. So I try to be as cautious about this stuff, especially again when I'm with my family. I keep an eye on them. I keep an eye on the people around them. I keep an eye on, like I said, movements. Even when I'm driving, situational awareness when you're driving, because sometimes people get overly distracted. So
Hmm.
it covers the gamut in terms of all the different things that you can look out for. Here, I'm trying to look at some of
You
these
wanna
other.
go? Okay, yeah, Zach hit on it. He talked about training is key, and that's
Yeah, yeah,
practicing,
yep,
training. I'll just I don't know if you mind me saying that you had your youngins in martial arts, so
yep,
they're trained well physically, and when you train well physically, you practice that helps you when it comes to your emotional state, and it helps you when it comes to your mindset, and it helps you when it comes to like you said, being aware of environment and just being aware of people and how to pick up on the nonverbal cues.
yeah,
So that goes a long way in life. So one simple tactic that I guess we can say that when it comes to like being like doing some practical things as far as incorporating your life is I
okay.
would admonish people to take up a martial art or take up a safety class, especially with the cases that's occurring with the Hollywood right now on Capitol Hill when it comes to
Oh, okay, that's like,
females.
huh? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
especially when it comes to females. I definitely tell my wife about this a lot. I was like, you have to pay attention. I was like, when you're out and about, if you go
With the
get out of the
kids.
car or walk into the store, do not be on the phone because you're not paying attention to your surroundings. So you make sure that you have the phone handy if necessary. Try to park as close as possible. Try to park in well lit places. Make sure that you don't park next to vans and all of these different things. We know of an individual in our church that was kidnapped. She got away, and
Wow.
yeah, she got away. But the guy that tried to help her, she don't know what happened to him, right? So
Hmm.
there's all kinds of situations that can go on. So the best thing you can do is just constantly look around, and I pretty much, one of the things, like when I was a kid, I guess I was about 12 years old. I used to walk to and from my cousin's house. It'd probably be like 12 at night, right? Something I would never
Wow.
let my kids do, by the way. But anyway,
Right.
walking the streets by myself, I was always aware of everything that was around me because I'm always thinking either I gotta run or I gotta fight. Just in case. Not that anything ever happened, but I was always aware that it could happen, right? So I always made sure I paid attention. I never walked with headphones on. I never walk with a hood on. All of those kinds of things, just to make sure that I got a 360 view of everything around me, and always just being aware of those situations. But for females, and females are particularly good at this in terms of one-on-one interactions, right?
Yep.
They pick up on nonverbal cues a lot, but sometimes they don't act on them. They
And
don't act
also,
in
yeah.
terms, yeah, they don't act in
And one of
terms
the
of
things
walking
that
away.
comes from that is that they are females in our culture today are taught to ignore those urges and those red flags, those signals that come on the
Yeah,
dashboard a lot, which leads to a lot of situations. But I didn't mean to stop you or get you off track. But females, like you said, one on one are very in tuned and very much aware of the nonverbal cues.
yep.
They pick up on it more readily, and sometimes to the detriment, they ignore it and they don't allow these things to at least prompt them to say, you know what, something ain't right. Let's do what needs to be done.
Yeah,
Mm.
exactly. And you gotta pay attention to those things. You have to, because in some instances it could be the difference between life and death. Not to
Yeah.
sound overly dramatic, but it's true.
Yep.
And actually, when I was just thinking, I
Interesting.
was thinking at the time when I almost got jumped in. I was in Indiana, and one of the things is like there was a group of dudes that just walked up on us, and it was just like people just slowly like something ain't right about this situation, right? So you just slowly start making your way out, like just casually, just like, all right, it's time to go, right? And so
Yeah.
you got to be aware of that, and also even going back to the thing that's going on Capitol Hill. I talked about like rape cases and molestations and a lot of things yesterday. One of the things people have to be aware of, I know this is not a popular thing to say, but intoxication is huge,
Yeah.
because it takes away when you're inebriated, your safety levels go way down. They plummet, right? And especially if you're not with people that are there to protect you, and sometimes it's the people that you think are there to protect you that do the most harm to you. So you
Mm.
have to be very aware. You have to be sober. The scriptures say, "Be sober, be diligent," because your
Yep.
enemy is seeking to devour you. So you have to be sober minded when you're in, especially in situations that you're unaware of. When you go to new
Man.
places, when you travel to other countries, you have to be sober. You have to be, because there's so many different things that you don't understand culturally that could lead to your peril, so to speak. So those kinds of things, because predators don't target powerful people. They target people that
Confident.
they
Yeah.
feel are going to be easy victims. So you got to watch out for that kind of stuff. You got to, like you said, you got to think about this stuff before you even leave your house, before you even get in the
Yeah.
situation. That's the importance of training, right? You can't just show up and then expect to get it all together. No, you have to understand this stuff before you even go somewhere. You think about it. For example, we went to WakandaCon in Chicago. I told my kids, I was like, look, we're in a big city. Hey, you keep
Yeah.
pace with what we do. If I say let's go, we go, no questions asked. We break out, that kind of stuff, right? And just make them aware. It's like, because when you're in a bigger city, in a larger city, there's a lot more people, there's a lot more movement, and you can get lost in the shuffle, right? So if something happens in a situation as that, you have to understand how to deal with it, how to move, and how to get to safety as quickly and as swiftly as possible. So let's get
Man,
some
you really
comments.
hit.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say you were quickly. I can identify with that in that whenever we go to other places, I always have a conversation. Hey guys, we're not in Georgetown. We're not in
Yep.
Kentucky anymore. We are in a different place, different people. Different mindset. Where we're from, it's southern. It's where I'm from. It's southern hospitality. Everybody knows everybody.
Plus, it's
It
slower.
we
It's a
it's
lot
way
slower.
slower. Yeah. So yeah, being aware and just having these conversations and training preparation is pretty much a big chunk of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's it. Like you said, you can avoid a lot of it, because avoidance is the biggest part. My wife mentioned that when we were in martial arts class, she said the biggest thing that she got from it was just to walk away, try to get away
Yeah.
as swiftly as possible. If conversations start getting escalated, and another thing is understanding situational awareness, right? Uh, prime example. I remember we used to go down to TD's when I was in college, right? TD's is a place in Lexington, it's a club, it's a musician, and he has, so all the old people went in the club, all the young people was outside, they would play,
Yeah.
they would gamble, shoot crap, the whole nine. It'd just be the party outside. Anyway, it was a situation where the guys they were shooting, craps or whatever. The dude was like, "No, I won. That's my money." He was like, "Nope," because the dude was like, "No, it's my money." And it was like, dude, you better shut up, because situational awareness lets you know that, okay, this is this dude's environment, this is his crew, all of these different dudes standing around you, and even if you right, you're not gonna win. So
Yeah.
you just let it go, take the L, and don't come back and do it again, right? And some people get so infuriated that they don't pay attention to those cues. It's like, yeah, it's like you don't understand the other dude standing up behind you. You looking at the little dude in front of you, thinking you're gonna whoop him, but then you got 10 dudes behind you ready to jump you. It's not the time to pop off, right? So it's those kinds of things. One, you should have been playing the game in the first place, right? You know what I'm saying? So you start walking it back, and it's like, okay, it's like the type of stuff you do, right? So anyway, just
Oh man. Yeah.
understanding the atmosphere, understanding your location, understanding the environment. If you're in the foothills of Kentucky and you don't have any kinfolk, it ain't the time to start acting up.
Just keep rolling.
Yeah, you just keep it moving, keep your mouth shut, and just bounce. So it's those kinds of things. Let's see, I'm trying to find some of the other comments. I'm trying to read them
Oh,
in.
you see where Zach said today I literally was surrounded by four
Yeah, okay.
aggressive individuals in a mob. I de-escalated and retreated to my Uber, reholstered my sidearm, and left the area. Human life is sacred, and
Yep.
knowing balance as I do daily, it isn't worth it.
Not at,
One has
not
to
at all.
sleep at night with a clear conscience.
Yeah, and that's the truth, man, because there's something else people don't think about in terms of when you put other people's safety in danger, regardless of if you think they deserve it or whatever, then that's something that you have to live with. I knew a guy that he didn't think he could get forgiveness because he had killed somebody before, right?
Okay.
And this man was old, and it happened when he was a kid, and he could never he just lived with that guilt. So he in turn he became an addict because of that, because he couldn't get past the guilt and the shame of what he had done when he was younger. So that's real,
Wow.
man. And again, it just saves, and not only that, it just saves you a life of headaches, right? De-escalating, walking away from a situation, keeping your safety, and not letting it get evolved into something much more. Even if it's as simple as a fight, which a fight is never just a simple thing. Just avoiding the police, avoiding jail time, possibly avoiding injury, avoiding things that retribution. Somebody seeking revenge because they feel clowned or because they got hurt,
Man.
because you hurt a loved one. There's all of these little nuggets and seeds that happen when that stuff explodes, right? And
Yeah, but our culture doesn't, you don't,
yeah,
it's, violence is glorified. And
yeah,
when it's all said and done, like you're pointing and you're really fleshing out all the ripples, the
yeah,
consequences,
it's
all
a
the
lot of it.
seeds of negativity and destruction that get sown through the act of violence, which may be an interesting turn of conversation. Do we need outlets of violence or
Yeah,
outlets
I would say
in
so. I mean, is because it's not really necessarily a violence; it's an outlet of frustration. Because a lot of times violence is an escalation of frustration. Because I think we talked about it before on a previous show. My wife says, when I was in martial arts and training all the time, she said I was a lot more relaxed. Because one of the things that it does is it just helps you. It's an energy release. It's a
yeah.
dopamine enhancer when you actually do exercise and do those things. It actually alleviates those things in your mind. It releases the pressure in your body. It releases the tension, the stress, all of those different things. And it could be an outlet, could be a variety of different things for a variety of people. Sometimes I get the same feeling from art, from doing art, from focusing on something. I get a dopamine release from, being creative. And for other people, it could be there's a whole litany of things that you can do to be constructive, to get rid of pent up frustrations, right? because a
So
lot of
it's like a
times,
it's a
go ahead.
constructive way to be chaotic.
Yeah, it's not even chaotic, really. I'm not even saying chaos,
Well,
because martial
well,
arts is not chaos. Uh,
well, I just said constructive
exercise is
way to
not
be
chaos.
destructive.
No, that's not even destructive either. So I don't look at it as such, right? Some people
Yeah.
they have rec
Mhm.
rooms where they go out, but it's really just an energy release more than anything else.
Yes.
It's a de-stressor, because again, the things that are released from exercise, from physical activity, from exerting yourself, from pushing yourself, it just mellows you out because you've exhausted your humanity, so to speak, right? It's a de-stressor in a variety of different ways, and I mean, I say different. There is no chaos involved. It's just a matter of, okay, bodily exercise actually does benefit the person in a lot
Yep.
of ways, and not only that, it increases your confidence because a lot of
Yeah.
safety really boils down to making sure that you alleviate fear. Fear can cause a lot of safety issues because you panic. I'll give you the prime example. My
You
daughter,
tense up.
yeah,
Hmm.
my daughter, like for example, they were in is the same daughter that ran out of the haunted house the other night, right? They were in a what's that, Home Depot, right? And a dog was in Home Depot for some reason. And typically she's not afraid of animals at all. She loves animals. But this particular day, the dog scared her, so she just took off running. One daughter jumped on something, but she took off running, and my wife was like, she just didn't come back. She just kept running, right? So, and that could be a safety issue because you run so blindly, you could be running into trouble as opposed to away from it. So, fear can definitely be an issue in those situations, and being unfit makes you more apt to pull the gun and shoot. Like in the situation of
Yeah.
Zach, the fact that because I know he's, like you say, he's trained all his life, he's been doing things all his life. So in a situation where other people get aggressive, out of fear, you would start shooting. You would just
Yep.
start shooting because you would panic, right? Because being physically fit helps you to stay calm in situations because you can handle yourself if things go a certain kind of way. But when you're out of shape, oh no, it's like, oh man, if he touched me, I'm gonna get hurt. I ain't gonna get hurt. Pow pow. You know what I'm saying? All of these kinds of things, right? It's all kinds of things that happen. People, just panic, they scream, they start fighting out of fear. They'll hit just to make sure they don't get hit, which means they'll get
Don't
hit.
know. Yeah. Don't
So
know how
so
to
it's
handle the
all
adrenaline rush.
because fear is develops irrational behavior, and that's the thing
Yeah.
that about overcoming fear, and being physically fit helps you keep yourself under control. Because body awareness, people don't think about this a lot, but having good body awareness makes you more confident. It makes you more
Yeah.
confident in how you act and how you move and all of those kinds of things. So that in and of itself is a safety precaution that people don't think about. Being in tune with your body, exercising is a safety precaution, not only from a health standpoint but
Yep.
from a situational standpoint as well. See, Zach said,
All
always know
right.
your exits in the emotional context of your environment. This cast is all about what I preach, brothers. Yeah, man.
Mhm.
Likewise, trust me, if you ask my wife, she'll tell you I talk about this stuff all the time. When you go out, I'm like, hey, kids, my kids do anyway. They do it regardless. But like, listen to your mother. She tells you to
You
do
gotta
something, you do it.
reinforce.
Yeah,
Yeah.
always reinforce it. Even if you think people know, you make sure that you reinforce that kind of stuff. Let's see. Uh, yeah, I got to read it from my phone
Miles, people need to
because
trust.
go ahead.
Miles says people need to trust that gut feeling too. Yeah.
Yes, for sure. So Deborah,
Intuition,
yeah,
that gut feeling.
yeah, you
That's
have to
interesting she
because
mentioned that because,
go
yep.
ahead.
Well, I was gonna say that's interesting that she mentioned that because the gut does feel, and the gut has it's connected. Your whole spinal cord is connected, whether your
Yeah,
gut, your heart, and your brain. So all this stuff is connected. That's why often when you hear me talk or whenever we talk, I often break things down when it talks about your heart and then your mind, and then once those things are aligned, then it affects your gut and it affects how you move and behave in the world. So that's why we often have these talks and we touch on just about every area of your humanity, and that you have to have these conversations about your gut and your heart and your mind, um, because that's part of what it means to being a human being.
Yeah.
Let's
So
see.
it's funny. Another thing I was
Late.
thinking about in terms of the way physical fitness actually helps you in the standpoint of safety is
Oh,
you can
you
run
breaking
better when
up
you're
on me,
physically
bro.
fit. Well, I'm good on my end. You might be breaking up on me.
Okay.
But
Well, keep it moving.
yeah, it's the fact that if you're physically fit, you can run faster. You can run better, swifter. So that's another aspect of it. Josh said, look at it. Look, you hit it. Look at people. They will tell you what's going on inside their head without saying a single word. Yeah, man. Body language is key, and you definitely have to pay attention to people, especially when they're around you and in environments that you're unfamiliar with. Um, see, Zach
You're
said
gonna have to carry the
situational
show a
awareness.
little. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, you're good on my end. I just see you keep rubbing the screen. Zach says
What's
situational
up?
awareness and undertaking the emotional context of one environment is key for females. I highly recommend solid firearms training and grappling training. Women are more likely to be
Yes.
attacked in a grabbing fashion as opposed to males who want to bang with strikes. Yeah, and
Yeah,
that's definitely true.
I was gonna suggest that too, and that females, I think, females should be familiar with groundwork and with grappling skills on the ground, and that in many cases, they often end up, a lot of fights end up on the ground anyway, and if you're female, in general, more than likely, you're probably going to end up on the ground in some way, shape, form, or fashion, and ground fighting just helps you being comfortable with fighting from your back. It's
Yep.
when I before I started ground training, it was just odd. It's the oddest feeling, but when you get used to it,
Yeah.
you can be a proficient and you can be an effective fighter on your back on the ground. You can be
Yeah,
lethal
because
on the ground
the
on
key
your
with a
back.
lot of it again is going back to staying calm and and under control, right?
Oh
Um,
man, that's that
because
for me.
you do
That's
not want to panic. It's the same thing they tell you when swimming, right? Do not panic. If you panic, you'll take on water, you will drown. So it's about staying calm, staying under control, and not letting your mind get away from you. And that's one
man.
of the
My when I was younger and I was like, I don't know, we are like 6, 7, 8, 9. I got an uncle who's like 6'5". He's like real big, and he used to
yeah.
always wrestle me, and he would wrestle me to the ground sometimes, and get you in that tight confined space.
Uh-huh.
Man, that's the most
That's it.
traumatic, scariest feeling you could be in. But ground fighting helped me stay calm in those moments when somebody has you in a chokehold and you think you're going to choke out. It's like, no, not really, because most people don't know how to put a proper chokehold on you to choke you out. So it's just being in situations like that that helps you remain calm and helps you. It gets you used to being in positions of what's it called? Positions where you're not dominant.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, yeah,
In submissive position. Yeah, yeah.
submissive positions. Yep.
Miles says sometimes women are made to feel ashamed of that gut feeling because we're told we're being too emotional. Yeah, don't be
Yeah.
ashamed of your gut feeling. Again, it's all about reaction. Remaining calm is part of all of this, right? Safety and all of those kinds of things is just being aware of yourself, being aware of how you're going to react. Like for example, I myself cannot swim. I'm not a great swimmer, but I do know that if I'm in a pool and I fell in, I know that all I need to do, truthfully, is just hold my breath till I hit the bottom. And then when I hit the bottom, I can just push myself out. I can walk out. I can do whatever. But again, if you start panicking, you never get the chance to reach the bottom and then get yourself out. So it's
Yeah.
all of those kinds of things. And like you said, in a situation where somebody grabs you or somebody, all of a sudden, if you can calm your nerves enough to assess what's going on, then you can probably figure it out. And again, this is where training comes into play. You can
Yeah.
probably figure out how to get to safety. And it's not about beating somebody up, it's about walking away and getting home to your family. So you'll figure out whatever that is. If you can just keep this thing in between your eyeballs, in the back of your
Mm.
eyeballs, under control, then you can possibly figure it out. Let's see, just scrolling through. Mal said, even in the mountains, you need to be aware of terrain, animals, weather, other people. Yeah, period. Everywhere. Situational safety is a thing for everywhere. Think about it with your car. Situational safety with your car is making sure you have gas in it. Some people drive and
Man,
don't pay attention to their gas gauge, especially if you're on the highway. You got to pay attention to exits. You have to know how far it is in between exits to get to one town to the next. If your gas is teetering on empty, then you need to stop at the nearest gas station. You need to be aware of the towns where you stop. Sometimes you don't need to stop in certain towns because they may not be kind to you for being an outsider for whatever reason. So a
mhm.
lot of these things, again, is situational awareness, understanding where you are, understanding the location where you are, and just basically dealing with the environment as it lends to you.
What one of the themes that one of the memes or themes that I think is consistently popping up in the conversation is enacting the principle of being proactive versus reactive, and then
Yes,
practicing
always.
uh, what was I going to say? A state of preparedness versus being unprepared. So it's just just it's self empowering when you actually take the time to kind of just think about things and go through some scenarios so that you can be as prepared as you possibly can, knowing
Yeah,
that you can't plan for all variables, but you can have an idea of say, hey, if this happens, then that and the other. But just practicing being prepared versus just being reactive and being caught with your hands in the cookie jar or just being caught off guard.
yep.
It
Live
definitely
intentionally.
goes a long way. What's
Yeah,
that?
I said live intentionally.
Live intentionally. Yeah, one of the yep.
Yeah, he said, Zach said, I was an unwelcome guest in their house, so I understood the emotional context of my environment. It was not worth the leg hike. Yeah, I feel you, brother. You're talking about where he was. Miles, apparently she's short. She said she had to learn to hinder her Napoleon complex. Yeah, because sometimes it's like the corgis, right? I don't know if she's seen the videos of the corgis, but they just yap, but they don't really fight. They just yap at each other, like they great do something but never do anything. Yeah, some people don't yap. Some people just just hit
Just
you.
go
And it's like,
straight
yeah,
warrior mode.
so it's not even worth the yapping. She said, yes, running helps me a lot. So relaxed afterwards, energy release. Got you. And Zach says, I have been a very adept martial artist and instructor since I was a teenager. Kevin already knows training and violence makes one peaceful. As humans, we are inherently violent. It's part of our uh, biology as bipeds. So harnessing that energy is a positive and productive environment, balances life, and makes decisions under stress more logical. Yeah, man, and that's one of the things that I noticed even with myself. The more into martial arts, the more into training and all of those things I got, the more relaxed I was. I was chill because again, I was never in panic mode in my mind, right? Because confidence alleviated me of my panic. Sometimes I'm probably too confident. Now that I look
Yeah.
back, I was like, man, I wasn't even a big guy, but I thought I could whoop everybody. So I never fought anybody. I never had to, right? In my mind, I'm like, I don't have to. So I was always chill. But anyway, that mindset, that confidence can be a lifesaver because it's like, you know what? I don't have to go do that. And again, confidence and cockiness are two different things. The cocky
Yeah.
dude gets into the fight and safety is goes out the window because no matter how good you are as a martial artist or as a gunslinger or whatever you think you are, if you don't assess the environment correctly, you can get killed, you can get extremely injured, and it's really not worth it. At the end of the day, all of this stuff that we're talking about, safety in terms of human interactions, risking your life is really never worth it unless it's saving somebody else's life, and that life may
Yeah.
be your own. Like if it's in a situation where you're being raped, being attacked, somebody's trying to kill you, somebody's breaking in your home. That's different, but the average person never goes through that, right? So just be sure that you don't bring on your own calamity, which is part of safety, is making sure you don't escalate your own downfall. See, Bomo said, please share. I don't know what you're referring to, Bomo, because we're getting late to these comments. So if you're still there, let us know what we need to share. Uh,
Yeah.
and Miles said, exercising allows you to get negative emotions out. Very
Yep.
true. Uh,
Yeah. I've taken out a lot of negative emotions on the weights in the gym.
yeah. And what she said, this is why soldiers are made to exercise first thing in the morning. Yeah, it's about being physically fit and just being aware. It just helps you. It's not a guarantee, but being in shape, being physically fit just helps you in bad predicaments. And this and doesn't even have to be violence. You could be
Nope.
stranded. Your car could just, like I said, you forgot to pull over. Maybe you blew a tire, right? You're in a location where there's no cell service. Then you need to get out, walk to the nearest gas station. That nearest gas station may be 20 miles. So all of these kinds of things, right? Being in shape and being fit and understanding that, okay, I want to be in the best situation possible, whatever situation I'm in. I just want to make sure that I'm adapt to wherever I go, wherever I am, then I can fit and I can maintain in whatever environment I find
Man,
myself.
you said the key word, able to adapt.
Yeah,
That's part of being safe. Yeah.
yeah, all of this adaptability, man. Love you too, bro. Zach said, "Love you guys. Love you, fools." He said, "Fools." He's part of the Mr.
That's
T
the
tribe.
that's exactly, yeah.
He himself fool. He's like, uh, yeah. Mal said, "I didn't realize what a gift PT was when I was in the military." Yeah, because they beating you up, but you realize, like you said, the benefit of it when you have to utilize it. So definitely, it's I don't even was it personal training. I don't know what PT stands for in the military, but I just know it's just training.
Physical training. Yeah.
Yeah, physical training. Yeah, because my roommate he was in the military when I was in college, so he used to get up all hours of the morning. I'd work out when I felt like it, so I didn't. uh, Mal said, as you get older, you need to stay fit, if only to be able to protect yourself. Yeah, to protect yourself from yourself. Uh,
Yeah.
being physically fit is part of protecting yourself from yourself because your body will deteriorate.
Yes, it helps you stay resilient, and if you do get injured, it helps you be able to recover faster and come back better and stronger than you were before, if not just as strong.
Not only that, but just think about it from a nimble standpoint, right? Being nimble,
Yeah,
like
being
tripping over something. When you're out of shape, you're gonna hit the ground.
man, I had a situation.
Yeah,
It could have really been ugly, and dude that seen the whole thing, he's like, "You all right?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm good." And like 20 minutes later, he's like, "You sure you all right?" It's like, "Yeah, I'm good. I mean, I'm good." But being nimble and agile definitely go. I didn't realize how important that was until the older I got. That's why I spend the time like getting the tennis ball out,
yeah,
massaging my muscles, stretching. These things that I thought was like, man, who does all that? Let's go to the gym, hit the weights. Like, nah,
yeah.
that's the last thing you want
Yeah,
to do.
and
Really,
also because of reaction time, right?
yeah.
Your reaction time can save you from a lot of injuries, and people don't think about those things. It's this little subtle things that being physically fit can help you in, and but you don't think about it until you maybe have to think about it, right? And
Yeah.
so just being proactive about your life, uh, taking care of your health is definitely part of safety training, as part of just everyday life, everyday living. Because when people get fatigued, then they do things. They're less mentally aware. So you might be cutting your onions and slice off your finger because you're not paying attention. It's all kinds of little things that come into play when you're talking about physical fitness, activity, and how it works in with your safety.
Man, you bringing to mind a lot of accidents I've seen over my life.
Yep.
I've seen people get their toes caught in like on the back of the moving truck, the
Yep.
little lift gate. I've seen people get their toes caught in that. I've seen people drop like heavy research equipment on their feet. I've seen people hit themselves in the head. I've seen
Yep.
people fall off trucks. Man, I've seen all kinds of stuff just because, like you said, when you especially like after lunchtime and everybody's
Oh
in
yeah.
eight. And if after lunchtime, if you eating food that makes you tired, you might want to rethink because I thought food is supposed to energize you. But anyway, that's a whole nother subject that I can go down. But just being mentally fatigued, like you said, that can really affect your safety. I didn't mean to go down the physical part, but are there any other ways when it comes to safety? Like I'm thinking about like your pocketbook. I'm talking about maybe your relationships.
I'm thinking about it from the standpoint of information, right? Knowing information, we talk about mastery a lot. Knowing, mastering your environment, mastering the information about
Man,
tools, mastering
yes,
information about like your job,
just
because
knowing the rules and policies to the
yeah,
game.
those kinds of things. Mastering information around, understanding techniques and things like that outside of, training from a training perspective. And then also just having a clean home, a simple home, because again, a lot of the accidents happen inside of the home. Cleaning up, getting things off your floor, getting things, just making sure everything has a place. That kind of stuff can cause accidents because you trip over things on the floor. And I'm saying this because I got kids and this stuff happens a lot.
So you
So
need to do that training where they put you on a treadmill and they put blocks and stuff on the treadmill when you on it, right?
yeah, that kind of stuff, right? It just again, knowing your environment, understanding the safety precautions about your environment. Like you said, if I'm going into a home that's being built, then I need to wear a hard hat just in case something falls, right? The simple things like that, simple thing, understanding those kinds of things, understanding nutrition, right? As information. You're talking about safety, making sure you don't have a heart attack. Heart attack is part of safety. Making sure you don't, having right thing, understanding information. Because guess what? If I know that I have a shooting pain down my left arm, then I need to be calling somebody, right?
Yep. Don't
So
ignore.
yeah, that way you prevent a stroke. Understanding when a stroke is on, understanding CPR is part of safety. That's part of knowledge. So it's a whole gamut of different things that you just have to constantly pick up on and just remember over time, because all of these things involve your safety. Somebody said, "Oh, I broke my ankle in the shower." Whoa, stuff like that,
Oh,
right? Yeah, Miles said that.
that's
Things like that,
embarrassing.
right? Yeah, it's
I'm
like
naked in the shower. Ambulance comes in.
yeah, and it's like so if you have a slippery shower, make sure you have grips in the bottom of your tub, right? Just little things, or maybe it's the shower, making sure that you have the proper equipment to where you can even hold yourself up, right?
Yeah.
Simple things like that can go a long way in terms of a household. In terms of like another aspect of safety is making sure you have locked doors. Maybe it's an alarm system. There's all kinds of different things. It's like if you live in a
Yep.
fire-prone place, it's like making sure that you can exit your building, exit your house in an easy fashion. If you live in a
Just
tornado, if you live in a flood area, there's again,
man.
it runs
Yeah,
the gambit,
I was
man.
having a conversation with somebody about that yesterday. They're talking about when they visited New Orleans a lot,
Yeah.
and he was just talking about when he got to a certain area, he seen a house, and was like, uh, that's a big hill right there. I didn't know you guys had hills around here. And he said the guy at the bottom of the hill started laughing. He said there ain't no hill. So he said walk up it. So he walked up it, and he said he was
Feel
looking
like
at
level.
the yeah. He did. He went to ground level, and he said he was just thinking about it because he was thinking about the hurricane. Then he thought about the New
Yep.
Orleans hurricanes. Like, I wonder if it got still there. If he probably got flooded there, like the Ninth Ward and stuff in that area.
Yep.
So just knowing the environment, knowing
Yeah,
if you live
that's
in a
another thing,
floodplain or
right?
not.
If you're moving somewhere, understanding that information before you get there is like, you know what? I don't want to live in this area because I know it's prone to floods, right? So you move somewhere else. So all of these kinds of things is practical information that can save your life, that you got to think about, and it involves safety, because again, safety is basically keeping your health intact, keeping your life intact. Let's see. Let's see. Mal said, "Nah, you ain't getting me on the ground. Learn them combos. It's silly." Uh, see, Zach said, "Yeah, be able to recover and evade. Grappling enhances that. That coupled with firearms training gives female a solid advantage. That's very true."
Yep,
Um, yeah, RAIN: recognize, assess, neutralize, evade. So that's the RAIN principle that Zach teaches. Yeah, recognize, assess the situation, neutralize, and evade. So neutralize the threat and make sure you get out of there as soon as you can.
as soon as possible.
Yep. And Mal said, staying calm is part of intelligent. You are not thinking in panic mode, not
Nope, you
at
just
all.
reacting.
Yeah, and not only that, it's just the same thing. Like when you're in a fight, if you get mad, then it's just as bad as panicking.
They
And
got you.
so, Yeah, because you're not thinking clearly, and if they're smart at what they're doing, then they can take advantage of your rage. My man Shahid said, "I stay in shape just to be at an advantage on the job and to be prepared for everything." Yeah, same way, man. It's like I think about fitness from the standpoint of extending my life, as opposed to looking like an Adonis and those kinds of things.
Mhm.
Um,
That's just a side benefit.
yeah, but yeah, I'm talking about like becoming like a meathead. Uh, Zach said, "Today I could have legally killed 4 people and would have been backed up by the court system, but knowing the situation, it wasn't worth it. So de-escalation and environmental context was key. 4 idiots with ill intent were nothing to me, no challenge whatsoever. I knew it wasn't worth it, so I retreated and de-escalated." Yeah, man, and that's the type of stuff that you have to do. You have, again, is you thinking, like you said, you got to think in the future. You got to think down the road, because if you don't think down the road, then you'll react in the situation that you're in, and then you'll reap the consequences of going through it. Even like say like he said, he could have been justified, but just think about the fact that he would have to go to court, he would have to do
Yeah,
all of these other different things, and there's no telling what would happen because of that. You don't know if there's people that'll be so ill bent on retaliation. Again, all of these
the
trails of
unintended.
things, yeah, all of these unintended consequences that you want to avoid as much as possible. So yeah, man, you did the right thing. I salute you for doing the right thing, brother. Real talk. Mal said, yes, my husband was jet lagged from a flight to Dubai, and left his wallet, and a man actually found him and gave it back. Thank the Lord. That's
Wow,
awesome.
that's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah, that's a blessing. And it's stuff like that to let you know that there's still good people in this earth. So as bad as things seem, things are always going to seem bad because there's always bad things going on in the world, but there are always
Yeah,
good things going
good
on in the
things
world
going
as
through.
well. So that's why you got to focus on those things. My man Zach said mental fitness perhaps is what you're going for. Mental fitness couples with spiritual and physical fitness. I definitely agree with that. And then, yeah, Zach said about all of that stuff, said it wasn't worth it. And at the end of the day, a lot of times it's not. Uh, and so just being aware of that some things just aren't worth it. Like I mentioned earlier, the guy that lost his life because he didn't want to de-escalate the situation. It was entirely in his hands, and he chose not to
He just,
de-escalate, and he lost
man,
his life because of it. So
ego and pride, you got to keep it in check.
yeah, you have to, and again, it's like not only that, but even righteous indignation, right? Even
Hmm.
that you have to keep in check. Being right does it don't matter. Sometimes it just does not matter, even if you are right. So, like I said, assess the situation, retaliate, come back another day, get the law involved, do whatever you got to do. Just back away sometimes, and you can avoid a actually he has no more life, so he could
Man,
have avoided all of that. So anyway, I think it's time to wrap up because I know Kevin said you weren't trying to be on here long. I see you keep looking at your clock.
no,
uh,
man, I wasn't looking at the clock. Something was in my eyes, man. I was trying.
yeah. I'm sure it's what it was. But yeah, oh, we appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you, Zach. But yeah, man,
Yes,
we just
sir.
talked about safety, staying safe, being, just making sure that you're aware of your environments wherever you are. Awareness is key for a whole lot of things. Situational awareness can save your life.
Living in
Making,
preparation.
yes, living in preparation, thinking ahead, planning. All of these kinds of things that we're talking about, being physically fit, they're not only good from a safety perspective, but they're good just for the enhancement of your life. It can save you a lot of headaches and a lot of troubles down the road.
It gives
So
you an advantage over other people because most people ain't thinking about this a lot of times until something breaks out or happens.
exactly. So that's the thing. It's like we're just trying to help people level up. So
To help
definitely
myself level up.
yeah, look where you are. It's like
Yeah.
if you're unaware of self defense or martial arts, find somebody that teaches it. Find practitioners. Uh, Go to YouTube. Understand these things. Understand things that are going on, and then actually take some training. It'll help you from a physical perspective. It'll help get you in shape. It'll help motivate you to get you in shape because it'll give you a reason to exercise. Because some people don't like traditional, like going to the gym, doing all of that kind of stuff. Being in martial arts and these kinds of trainings are a practical way to get in shape and still learn the skill at the same time. So
LA, do some LA boxing, do some,
yeah,
boot
whatever.
camp boxing, whatever. Yeah,
Yeah,
kickboxing.
just do it. Just get your body physically in shape because it'll help you from a health perspective as well as a safety perspective. It'll keep you nimble. It'll keep your mind aware because you get
Yep.
more blood circulating through your body, make your heart stronger, all of those kinds of things. So anyway, that's all we got for tonight. That's all I got for tonight. I'll let J. Kev sign us out unless you got some more.
Two Shy Guys and a Mic, J. Kev Lake Taylor here, just having a fun time discussing how to be safe and cultivating safety in whatever way, shape, form, or fashion that you can do it in your life. It's all about leveling up and not just striving, but thriving. Yeah, Four Seasons. Go
Hey, are
visit
you
Four
in Four
Seasons. Is
Seasons in
that?
Lexington, Zach? Oh, really? I may have
Yeah.
met him before. I may have met you accidentally because I went there one time with my dude Tolly. But anyway,
Hmm.
yeah, hit me up, Zach. I definitely love to connect with you there, man, because I've been thinking about it. All right,
Yep.
but
Yep.
anyway,
If
time
you
is off.
find yourself in Central Kentucky, hit Leif up. Bring some boxing gloves and a mouth guard, and I'm sure he'll be more than happy to help you with instruction and safety as he's pounding, ground pounding on. Just joking.
Hey man, it was a good talk last night.
All right. So, love, peace, and happiness. Everybody stay safe, mitigate those hazards, those risks, those dangers in your life, and live love, love life.
Peace out, people.
Peace out.